And today I will be talking about this scene in my favourite horror film ever, Hereditary. I do think it's the most detailed, most scariest horror film I have ever watched in my life. The film is written and directed by Ari Aster, and it follows Toni Collette's character, Gabriel Byrne, Nate Wolff, Amelia Shapiro. And Toni Collette plays a mother who has lost now both her grandmother and her daughter. But in the background, we do see that she is being manipulated by a different force. She's being manipulated by a cult that her mother had been a part of since we don't even know. We only see a picture of her when she met this lady Joan, and she was very, very young. This could have been generations and generations that we don't really know. And the scene that we picked out here is whenever she's finally going to confront Joan about a certain thing, as Joan has been using Toni Collette's grief to try and get her to do all these different rituals, and now the rituals are kind of coming to a certain point where she needs help for it, and when she reaches out to Joan's apartment, this scene happens.
Joan, please, I need to talk to you. Joan, I really need to
ask. And that whole sequence of pulling back, that is terrifying, and something that I think Hereditary does really well, that other films such as Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist, setting these horror films in normal sort of buildings and normal houses, I think makes it 10 times more scarier. The fact that all these terrible things, all these cults and demons and stuff are in a normal house. And then as soon as we pull out, another thing I want to point out is the cupboards, especially inside on the left hand side there, it's still in frame of the sign of payment, and that is always there. That is there at the start of the film. She could have noticed that if she just opened it. There's nothing being left to hide. Nothing is being hidden from Toni Collette's character, but she's refusing to believe it. And now we see all pictures of the son, and you see on the table there is a mark formed, and then right in front we do see then the image that we will see at the end of the film with the three headless figures, and then the heads, and then the king payment. Now of course the head of the pigeon there as well looks very, very similar to the one that Amelia Shapiro's character cut off, Charlie, and she died earlier on, and is then seen that she was always with the demon payment, but he needed a male heir. So at this point I do think there was some sort of coercion between Joan and Charlie, as we see in a different scene. She did show up to her school and was yelling at her and was meeting with Charlie, so perhaps she was into it more than we are let on. But this is such a creepy image of just such a normal house that she was in herself. Again, this is what gives her the reason to go back to the house and start looking at her own mats, because the mats are right there. The mats were there the entire time. She could have realised this. I think we see right now this is the impact of the cult. They needed Peter weak, and they needed him vulnerable. At the moment here, at the very start of the film, he was very popular, he's being invited to parties, he had a lot of friends, and now he's by himself. He's eating lunch all by himself. He is open and vulnerable for the cult, of which we can hear Joan yelling out to her.
I expel you! Get out!
think that's really, really terrifying, is the fact that nobody's reacting to this, and nobody is helping him. He's by himself, and I think this really shows the mental state of the grief that he's in, because he was involved in his sister's accident. He feels all by himself. He can't talk to his mother. She's angry with him. She's upset with him. She does blame him. And also, we do see earlier in the film that some of his friend members are a part of the cult. We don't know how much of the school really is involved in it, but we do know that there is a presence of the cult in the school, following Peter and helping him, as one of his friends seemingly also put some sort of thing in. They were smoking marijuana, and then he took a reaction to it, which could have been an attempt to try and kill him as well, or at least weaken him. This is where we start to really get the whole goal of the cult. And have the top three heads there, of course, relates to the end of it, when we have Tony Collette's head, Millie Shapiro's head, and Gabriel Byrne's heads, of course. And we see that we will then see that King Payman needs his male heir. That's an image right there, of course, of the riches of to the conjurer, saying that the mother would receive a lot of riches, which, to be quite honest, we looked at her and she didn't seem that rich. Maybe they're saying in the afterlife she will be, but then we do see in a photo where she's being showered down with coins. So really, she sold out her family for just a little bit of money, seemingly in the afterlife. Course, here, the scene I'm talking about, being shared with the riches, and this relates to the photo we just seen a while ago. I'm gonna end it on this frame. This frame is one of the scariest frames I've ever seen. It's terrifying. We have all these people looking at a family photo of people that they've never met. It's terrifying. They're making a shrine towards them all, and we do see that the three separate are right there, and then Nate Wolff is by himself there. This of course show that they are the three sacrifices to make the the King Payman, on the side there. And it's really terrifying. Really, Hereditary is all about the hereditary trauma being passed down from her grandmother, who refused to account for it, and this family fails to account for it.